everybody, I am Scotty J. Welcome back to Rock Titan Live. Got an amazing guest with us today. In 2018, his band exploded onto the scene with a cover of the Cranberries' Zombie. Since that time, they've released two full-length studio albums topping the Billboard charts. Every single that they've put out has gone number one. My man shows off more tattoos than skin. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the lead singer of Bad Wolves, Tommy Vext.
Thank you very much. Well, that was amazing. Can I hire you to just come around and can you announce me when I go into the gym? Be like, yo, he's
Absolutely.
here.
Tommy, absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Yeah, no. It's all about the opening, man. It's all about the presentation, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it felt Titanic, but
Yeah.
like the good Titans, not the boat that sank. Fucking.
Right on. Yeah, the Titanic. Yes, that was tragic. My grandmother was actually alive when the Titanic sank.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The Titanic sank on my. I was born on the anniversary of the Titanic sinking and the anniversary of Abraham Lincoln being shot and killed and tax day.
Wow. As if you're not known for enough already.
This weird facts.
Man. But, speaking of weird facts, well, it's not really a weird fact. It's just a fact that
Mm.
we were talking about all your number one singles that Bad Wolves has just been cranking out since you guys exploded onto the scene. One of which has been doing very well for the last couple of weeks, and that is Sober.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
got to be feeling pretty good that you guys have established yourselves. Like every time you come out with something, you're just tearing it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that um we're the band, we're career musicians, so we're we're not kids, and we've been doing bands for years, and so I think there's been a we've been very blessed to have found the right managers and the right label, and obviously having Zoltan from Five Finger helping manage the band. It's a lot different when we have a management company that Zoe works with called 10th Street. And so when you have an artist
Right.
that believes in the vision and understands another artist and they go to bat for you, I think that what the team, and Better Noise Music and everything that Alan Kovac is doing over there has been an amazing experience for us. And now with Sober success, Alan's starting to get Sober is a part of a movie called Snow Babies. It's a passion project of Alan's, who owns our record label, and Alan's been around for a long time, and he's an industry veteran. He actually managed the Cranberries through the height of their career.
Oh wow.
He's been instrumental in helping band members, very, very famous band members on his label, come to sobriety. And we're dealing with an opioid crisis, that where everyone's kind of the kind of COVID pandemic has taken over the media attention for 2020. But the fact of the matter is, I think in the past 3 years, more people have died of opioid overdose than the entire Vietnam War, and we're averaging this year over 128 deaths a day.
Oh my God.
And so it's a conversation that and myself being sober, I've been in recovery for 11 years. I have my own podcast, TV and Gentlemen. My co-host has been sober for years, and it's a conversation that we're trying to tackle to educate people so people can understand what's going on. And I think that addiction is a very interesting, alcoholism and addiction is an interesting disease, because it's the only disease that if you have it, everyone's mad at you.
Well,
if you get cancer, nobody's mad. Everyone feels bad for you. If you have COVID, everybody's worried for you. And with addiction, I think, everyone whose life touches the sufferer is greatly affected.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, if I had to speculate, and I've had a number of people that have dealt with addiction in my world, if I had to venture a guess, I'd say one of the reasons why that might get a little bit more, stigmatized than anything else, is probably because there's the thought that the person has more control over it. It's not like something that just happened to you that's out of your control, like you did it to yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the issue. It's like it is a mental health issue, but there is a physical allergy component.
Right.
So some people are actually allergic to alcohol, and they have an allergic response. But they also have there's a psychological component because it's kind of a weird thing. Like if you knew you were allergic to peanuts, you wouldn't eat them. But imagine being obsessed with eating peanuts, but also being allergic to them. And so, you once you take a drink, your body has an allergic reaction, and the body reacts to alcohol and drugs almost like a sailor at sea who's been shipwrecked and drinks the salt water because they're dehydrated, but they need to drink water, but the actual water they're drinking is filled with salt and poisons them and dehydrates them and kills them.
Yeah, no,
So
very
it's a
good point.
very yeah, it's a very interesting, for people who don't understand, it's always it's been an interesting journey of me kind of educating the public and people who have loved ones and family. I mean, everyone has somebody they care about that struggles with some form of addiction, and
Sure.
so, and I think the whole lockdown situation, I'm grateful that I've been sober for some time because I can't imagine being a newcomer and then not being able to have contact with a therapist or a support group or just doing the things that people need to do in the early recovery. So it's a scary time, man. And
Yeah.
we were looking down the barrel of another lockdown, and so it's for people who are struggling. There's a lot of meetings on Zoom that they're kind of all over the world now, and I think that's been a really positive um, action that the community and recovery has taken. And there are meetings every day all over the world, and so I tell people that you don't have to be alone anymore, and if you are in a place that goes into lockdown and you get stuck, the at least we have technology now, where we can actually reach out to another person. So
Yeah.
you know
Now, well, congratulations on your sobriety. And so the song "Sober" that obviously is very close to you. It's very near and dear to your heart. One thing that's interesting about Bad Wolves, Tommy, is that you guys kind of complete the trifecta. In that, I know that "Sober" is featured on the soundtrack for Snow Babies, and a couple of the other guys on there is Corey Marks,
Yep.
who I know that he had Outlaws and Outsiders. That's the song I believe that's in there. And, our man from Five Finger Death Punch is featured on that album. And then we had From Ashes to New. And we recently had Matt Brandyberry on the show as well. So I think it's really cool that all you guys had your music featured in Snow Babies. So is the reason you got involved with Snow Babies exclusively through the relationships with your label and the producer, like you said?
Yeah, well, I mean, when they told me that they were developing the script and what the topic of the film was going to be, I was all for it, and I think it's important to. I think parents don't realize how much easier it is for kids to obtain opioids than it is to obtain alcohol, and that was my experience too. And I grew up in the 90s, and it's like I grew up in New York in the 90s. You'd have to try to find money and then get a homeless guy to buy you booze. But there were drug dealers that just were in the neighborhood, and now I think with the kind of mass prescription writing and pain management centers that, people are stealing medications from their relatives, their grandparents. If anybody who's had a surgery, and they prescribe medications for people who are who are in extreme pain, and it's easy to just steal that stuff.
Right, right.
And so
Now, as far as Snow Babies goes, how can people get a hold of that? Do you know? Are you like closely attached to that project?
I
Uh,
think it comes out. I think it's coming. I don't know what the exact release date is, but it's going to be coming out in the fall, and there'll be a big push, and everybody will be able. It'll be all over my socials, and Yeah. So follow me on Instagram at Tommy Vext, or the band's page, Bad Wolves, or Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
Right
And
on.
at Better Noise Music, um, social media.
Okay. All right. Now, aside from the sober music video that's dedicated, in partnership with that movie, are you actually featured in the movie as well? Are you an actor in the movie?
No, no, I'm not in this movie.
Okay.
I will be featured in another movie. I'm actually Doc and I are playing two separate scenes in a movie coming out called The Retaliators, and we're actually scheduled to. This song "Learn to Walk Again" is going to be. I think what we're doing is they have to do some reshoots. So fingers crossed, we get to use the movie production, and we're gonna just bring the band and shoot the day that we're shooting these scenes that they needed to get. So it's a horror movie and it's like a different pace, but all the guys, obviously, almost every metalhead is a horror fan. So it's kind of like I don't know. It almost like has a Bone Collector meets The Hills Have Eyes kind of
Oh
vibe.
wow, dark man, that's
Yeah,
dark.
where
Okay.
it's a little bit dark. It's kind of like Saw in a way. There's like there's it's a cool script. It's like all the people who are kind of captured and tortured have like a backstory where it's like horror justice, and it's going to be gnarly. So
Okay, all right, that's very cool. Well, obviously, 2020 has not gone as planned for any of us, Tommy. And clearly, you guys wanted to be, doing more support of Nation, which came out there in 2019. And so, I mean, you had Disobey in 2018, Nation 2019. I would have ventured to guess that you guys, in this downtime, since you're not touring, since nobody can tour, you already got like albums 3 and 4 already done.
no, they're not done, but musically there's 32 songs that. And on top of it, while the guys were writing the album, I went in and I did a cover album that's streaming on Patreon.
Oh wow.
Um, so the band started a Patreon, and we have, I think there's 13 cover songs up already, and we put one out every Friday. I did a song with Chris Daughtry. I did 2 songs with Chris Daughtry. I believe I'm going to be doing a song with Ivan Moody. Um, I have not stopped working. I wrote a biography during my lockdown with my co-writer Riley Perez, he's a writer over at HBO. I've been busy, man. I will not stop. I'm not stopping.
Right
You
on.
know.
Right on.
So it's just a constant grind.
Yeah, and,
So
and somehow you find time in all of that, busy schedule. You got this podcast that you're doing, Deviant Gentlemen.
yeah, we record that on Sundays. That's kind of like my day off. So in between recording and writing and doing work stuff and training and and I'm doing this whole. I'm training for the next couple of months to like do a body transformation thing, and I got sponsored by First Form, which is a supplement protein company, and it's a lifestyle brand. They do a lot of good work with law enforcement and military, and it's super positive. I became friends with Andy Frisella, who's the owner of the company. He's got a huge podcast, and he's like a motivational speaker, and he's kind of like a Gary V type, you know. But he's just in that fitness world, and he's a really cool entrepreneurial guy, and so it's been cool to do that. But I have not stopped, man. I have not stopped. And by the end of the year, I just went to Miami, and I went out there for work, and I went to Muhammad Ali's boxing gym with a girlfriend of mine, and then we went to go get food, and we met all these cops, and I bought everybody lunch, and they recognized me. They were like, "Oh, you're the guy." Like, I was like, "Yeah, cool." And then so now they invited me to come back and do the deputy training. So it's like 4 hours a day for 3 weeks straight, and it's like, and basically, you basically go through almost like a police basic training. So I might go do that in the fall, just because I think it's important for people to understand, like, a lot of people who are, it's very like, very like fashion faux pas to hate the cops, which is like, it's, I understand how people have been emotionally manipulated by, by the murder of George Floyd
Yeah.
and the Breonna Taylor, and the list goes on. Like, obviously I was horrified by Eric Garner and the and Trayvon Martin, but the media exposure of these incidents versus what actually statistical facts show happens is it's first of all, it's inaccurate, and it's not easy to be a cop.
Yeah.
It's a fucking hard job.
Yeah.
And there are some bad cops, but there are some guys who are just, it's a very small number of people who shouldn't be cops. And this whole I'm just not with it. I don't think defunding the police. I think, I live in Los Angeles, and this whole kind of insanity behind defund the police and Black Lives Matter, which is now, I came under a lot of heat because I debunked BLM as being well, first of all, it's a corporation. It's not a nonprofit, and the money that they raised goes towards Act Blue, which is a political party. So
I was going to ask you about that.
To me, it's hijacked. To me, they've hijacked a movement which everyone can agree is right, and that Black lives do matter. Obviously, I'm Black, but they bastardized the movement in order to make money for themselves, and it's disgraceful, And it's at the it's at the cost of, I've watched so many videos of brothers like who became, there's so many different ethnicities in the department who these people grow up to become the change and affect change. And they did do that. And they're getting yelled at by like 18-year-old white girls who are like in Ivy League schools with rich parents, telling them that they're the N-word, and there's just kind of like, I'm just not with it.
Yeah,
I'm not with it. It's not okay.
Right. Now, I'm with you. And I think one of the interesting things, Tommy, and again, everybody, if you didn't already know, we're here with Tommy Vext from Bad Wolves, and you wear your heart on your sleeve, man. I mean, you just say exactly what you feel. And I think the interesting thing about being a musician is, you do have a very unique platform. And as an artist, you get to express yourself vocally in lyrics, in song, in poetry is really what it is. And I just think it's interesting that, freedom of speech, it's one of the most important things we have. You've exercised that. And like you said a little while ago, when you said how you felt, you got jumped all over. And I just think it's interesting, depending on who says what, it's either okay or it's not okay. And for you, when you came out and said what you said, is as close as the issues are to you, you got jumped. What do you think about just the way that things are handled? And I guess, are you ever concerned about how your fan base is going to react to your opinions?
No, I don't. Look, my whole thing is this. First of all, like, you got to understand, well, you probably already understand this. There are the publications like Loudwire and Blabbermouth and Metal Injection. I know a lot of these people. They're nice people. However, their job is to get clicks. And so, I did that marker video and I manipulated them. In the video, I did a complete comprehensive breakdown of the media, Black Lives Matter, who owns what's going on, boom. And I was like, I don't know if this is the truth, but this seems to be the conspiracy that's going on. That's not enough to go viral. So I just said that racism isn't real, which obviously is not true. But that's how you have to deal with these people, because they're even though they're good people, their egos are disproportionate to, they don't have an accurate sense of self-appraisal. And so for them, if they can take their platform and use it to berate and lambaste and criticize, that's when they're going to give you attention so they can create outrage. So I put myself on a firing line in order to get the truth out. And the video got 37 million views in 4 days. And, everywhere I go, I just flew to my airports, everything. And it's like, you know, I predominantly probably have a Caucasian fan base because I play rock music. Every black person that I have seen in the past month has come up to me and be like, thank you for making that video. It's only white liberals who are very upset about it, and my guitar player, because he has completely opposing ideological belief systems,
Sure.
and I respect that. And I'm like, you should say how you feel, and I'll say how I feel, and all of America. And what happened with Doc and I is an example that we are in a band together. We've been friends for 20 years. We have we what he believes, I think, is insane, and what I believe he thinks is insane. However, I believe he has the right to believe that, and we are not trying to change each other's mind, and we love and accept each other.
Awesome.
And if everyone does that, like, I'm not here to like, I actually don't want to be right. I want to be wrong, because I don't want the corruption to be true. I want it to all be fake and me to look like a fool and be like, oh shit, like, thank God, like, you know, like, geez, it's a good, you know, it's like a hurricane and you're like, oh, at least the wind stopped blowing, you know. But I think that in general, I think people need to have conversations. There's a song on Disobey. I mean, for Christ's sake, our first album's called Disobey. We have a song called Officer Down.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have a
Exactly.
song called No Masters, which is about voluntary slavery, which is exactly what the lockdown is. It's house arrest. It's voluntary house arrest. Right. And the wearing of masks, despite the CDC, the World Health Organization, and hundreds of doctors saying that it's not going to protect you, or it is going to protect you, and then it's not, and then it is. You know, it's a symbol of acquiescence. You know, and so, you know, the more that we argue with each other, the more that we don't share information. You know, today AJ from Fire of the Gods posted a thing. You know, he had a Trump symbol that said America First, and it was the eagle with the circle and Trump 2020, America First. And then next to it was the Nazi SS eagle with the inverted swastika, which most people don't know. The swastika is a Eurasian Hindu and Buddhist
it's thousands
symbol.
of years old. Yeah, it's very
yeah,
old.
yeah. And so they inverted it, but the Nazis also stole our eagle, which, you know, the bald eagle was institutionalized as the symbol of freedom for America in 1728. The Nazi Party adopted that brand in 1933. They clearly stole from Eastern and Western civilizations, you know, and so, but we're in this period of time where whatever thing, like, if you're predisposed to believing a certain thing, you're going to find that, you know? And so you're going to make points, and everybody is creating propaganda, you know, to virtue signal their political beliefs. And me, I'm just like, isn't it crazy that fucking 70,000 people overdosed on opioids and nobody talked about it? Isn't it crazy that 800,000 children go missing every year? Isn't that weird?
It is weird, Tommy. And you know what? That's a great segue into really what I want to talk to you about next. Because, you know, first of all, I'm glad you addressed the thing with Doc, you know, because everyone wants to obviously, you know, dramatize it and everything, like you said. It's easy tabloid fodder, clickbait and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is,
Sure.
You guys agree to disagree. You're brothers. You still love one another. And that's what it's all about. One of the things, I was watching your podcast the other day, and you did mention very briefly about kind of being a role model. And just because you're so rational, matter of fact, I get the sense from you that you don't do anything haphazardly. You definitely think things through before you do it. And you talked about the fact that you have a young fan base. You know, Bad Wolves is one of those, you know, more unique metal bands these days where, you know, the parents are out there rocking out and they're bringing their kids along with, raising them right, you know.
Yeah.
How seriously, how important is it to you as a role model? Some artists are like, I didn't ask to be a role model, but you are nonetheless. Is that something you're cognizant of?
I don't really look at it. Look, I'm not this. We have a song called No Messiah, and that song is about my experience of being a sober coach to a very, 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 very famous singer. probably the most famous singer in the entire world, and at his age. And it's like, I'm not like, I don't look at myself like that. The only thing that I believe is that if you have a platform, you have a responsibility to be honest.
Okay.
That's it. And so like, I try to focus on facts rather than feelings and common sense, and there's a lack of that. It's almost like we've lost, like libertarians and moderates are kind of like, we're like, wait, what? You got to be either, the alt-right and basically, be borderline racism and fucking, get out of my country, which is the stereotype, or far left and be, Antifa, which are like soy latte anarchists who want to, you know what I mean? Like,
I do, man.
And the funny thing is that they're all white. These kids, I'm like, I kind of wonder if Antifa are the new Nazis, because who would want to destroy peaceful protests more than white supremacists? So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of weird, when you start to look at it like that, and anarchists and Marxists and all this shit, and but yeah, I don't I don't want to be a role model. I didn't even want to be in a band anymore. I gave up a company and a career when Zombie blew up. I didn't think I was going to tour that much. And
yeah.
I still make way like when I quit a $250,000 a year job to be in a fucking shitty band, like when you understand how much, even Bad Wolves as a band, we don't make any fucking money.
What?
I have 10 other jobs. Yeah, it's a fact.
Oh my God.
You don't understand, a record deal is a bank loan, and then you got to go out, and then there's no tour support, so you got to take a merch deal and a merch advance, and like, it's a series of incurred debt for the first 5 years, and then if you last, then you blow up. So people are always like, oh, what should I do? You have any advice for people in the music industry? I'm like, don't get into it. Wow. Just don't do it. No, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's a complete waste of time.
Well,
but that's a real answer, and it's because the music industry is dead.
It's just so
because there's no way to monetize. There's no way to monetize free, so that you're better off. Every artist is better off making music, paying for themselves, and then building a social media platform and like making videos and putting all of them on YouTube, and then monetizing their YouTube channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very depressing, isn't it?
So, I mean, to hear you, because Bad Wolves exploded onto the scene, and I appreciate you've been an artist for a long time, and clearly with your business background, you're business savvy. You can tell that much. I get that much from you. You've been a successful businessman.
You have to understand that our biggest selling single, The Money, doesn't go to us. We give the money away. So, people are like, oh, you have 300 million views on YouTube, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that goes to a family.
Right.
You sold this many records. See, all these records, I got a closet full of them. But the money, it's not about money. It wasn't about money. It never will be. Like, I'm not in a band because I want to be rich. I'm an artist, and you can't turn a fucking pickle back into a cucumber. I've been playing music too long. I'm obsessed with it. But I just find other ways to make money.
Right. So you wear multiple hats then. You are not just the front man of Bad Wolves. Are you running other business ventures in tandem with being a musician?
Yeah, I let the most time-consuming ones go in order to tour. But since we've been back at this, since I've been back home, I've just been back to work, just grinding. Right. I'm probably going to get certified to be I'm going to get certified at a national level to be an interventionist, and then I'll probably next year start flying out and doing pretty high-profile interventions, corporate interventions, for just to help people. It's hard for a lot of people who are successful to hear a message of recovery unless it comes from somebody else they feel is successful. Right. So I have a unique opportunity to continue in my primary purpose, which is to stay sober and help another person achieve sobriety. So, these are just the things going on in my life. I'm going to put out a biography. It might turn into a movie. The book is already attached to Rob Weiss, who's did
Oh, right on.
American Psycho, Ballers, Entourage.
Do we have a
Whether it's a
release date for
show.
that?
No, well, actually, interestingly enough, I have to get a new book manager. My manager worked for Steven Spielberg, and she dropped the book because of the marker video, because it is a bit. We live in a very liberal city, so I lost that deal. I also lost my microphone endorsement with AKG and Harman and JBL, and so now we're talking to Shure because of freedom of speech. You're not because the I think it's Trump hysteria too. People, it's his own fault. He's done a lot of things at a public level that have created anxiety and hysteria, and that he's given the media everything they need to make him look like he's the second coming of the Antichrist, when he's just a douchey businessman who made the economy impeccable. And that's it. He's just not a likable guy. He's an asshole. But yeah, he's a businessman, and the country's was up until, dude, it took 3 months of lockdown for the economy to be as bad as it was when Obama left it. And that's just like the statistical fact.
Right on.
And so I would much rather have a president like Obama who's cool and makes everybody feel good, but I don't really agree with a lot of the policies that he had, and that's okay, But I think that the most important thing about that presidency was that having a black president meant that everybody could be president. Right. And that's a big deal, because it lifted a veil of psychological self-victimization, which they're trying to push back on.
But look where we are now, man. I mean, like I said early on, 2020 has not gone the way I don't think any one of us could have ever imagined. But in that note, I know you got to get rolling, Tommy.
It's going to get worse. I have a friend at the Pentagon, and I talked to somebody at the Bureau yesterday, and
wow,
people should stock up. There's going to be a food shortage. It's going to be on purpose.
Well, I'm glad I live out in the country then, and I'm a life member of the NRA, and I'm a good hunter to boot. So maybe I'll have to call up Ted Nugent. We'll figure something out. But
just get clean water and food and just chill out.
Yeah. No. Oh God. Oh man, Tommy.
It's going to be the major cities that get hit the hardest.
Oh man. Well, you're welcome out in the country, out here in southeastern Pennsylvania whenever you like, man. You can come on out to Rock Titan headquarters and we'll chill, and everything's cool out here. But all that being said,
I like the garden gnomes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know they're I know you live in LA, but you're from Brooklyn. You a New York or an LA fan?
Yeah. Oh, I'm a New Yorker.
All right, man. Yeah. Brooklyn through and through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm lifelong Phillies. Us and the Mets go at it. We don't care about the Yankees so much, or the Jets. But when it comes to the Giants and the Mets, man, it's ugly.
Yeah, it's weird how that is, because it's so funny that the Northeastern teams have these beefs when Northeastern people are people from Philly, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, like Boston, are so similar. And I go travel all over the world, and I always it's such a thing, because I'm like, it's so weird that these people are mad at each other's sports teams. We're literally the same with slightly different accents.
Right? That's funny. Yeah, because I know with you and Shane, oh my God, he's got the Boston accent. You've still got that Brooklyn accent. And people tell me wherever I go across the country, oh, you're from Philadelphia, aren't you? I'm like, what? Just because I call it Wooder? I mean, it's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I don't even know that I have an accent. Apparently I do, depending on where you go. But, oh, man. So, in closing, because I know you got to roll, but so what's next for Tommy Vext and Bad Wolves, man? Obviously, we have no idea what the touring season, has left. And, you've got all this music that you've written, but we clearly do not have any definitive dates. You got the movie, the independent movie Snow Babies, that's going to be coming out in the fall. Anything in the immediate future that we can be looking for specifically from Bad Wolves?
If for new stuff, just tune into the Patreon. You can find, it's just patreon.com/badwolves. And every Friday there's new music drops. We do videos. We do we do interactive stuff. I'm going to be, today I'm going to record a cover of Civil War by Guns N' Roses, which may feature one Ivan Moody. We're going to figure it out as soon as I get done tracking the vocals. And we got stuff coming up. We did Hunger Strike with Chris Daughtry, which is one of the most amazing songs ever written in the grunge era. And
Temple
there's
of the
just
Dog,
a lot
man.
going
I
on.
loved him. Temple of the Dog.
Yeah,
I'm
so
still not over Cornell, dude. I don't think, of all the artists we've lost, that one, for me personally, stings the most. I'll never get over it.
I don't think it's ever going to be. No, man. Chris was, he was special.
One of a kind.
Yeah, he was the real deal.
You know.
So anyway, I'm getting the text message. They're like, "It's time for your next interview."
Right on. Well, Tommy, I can't thank you enough. And again, everybody, we are here with Tommy Vext from Bad Wolves. Man wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's just an amazing musician. Even though he'd probably walk away from it tomorrow to engage in some other business venture, because clearly he is a genius, as you've all seen and heard here. But
definitely not a genius.
Yes, you
definitely
are.
A man with his foot in his mouth on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, but I definitely look forward to having you back on Rock Titan Live. You are welcome here anytime, sir. And thank you.
Thanks,
thank
brother.
You
we'll talk soon, man.
I hope so. Yeah, best wishes, man, and we'll be in touch. Everybody, I'm Scotty J. You're watching Rock Titan Live. We're out.
Yeah.